This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Warehouse.
Well, the first of a doubleheader on a Saturday night sees the Brisbane Bullets hosting Melbourne United. Now, Brisbane, we know about their woes. They beaten by 50 the other night against Sydney. I mean, seriously. And Melbourne, since they've got everyone back and healthy, they look like a playoff calibre team. And if they are to be in the playoffs, they need to win this ball game. Let's look at a same-game multi. And, of course, we're taking Melbourne United to win the game. Ray-John Tucker has been outstanding in the second half of the season. And Aaron Baines, he's struggling. You can tell he is disappointed with the way the Bullets are going. Enjoy the game. Gamble responsibly.
You know the score. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Here's Golding in the corner, and he makes it count. Johnson now to White, who lays that one home. Oh, my! Back out for Barlow. He trains the three. Kenny pulls up from deep. Start to swing. Oh! Marcus Lee! Wow! Goodness gracious! Johnson in the corner, bang, 32. Tucker was open for a while. Rattan May's found him and he does the rest. Here's Stanton for three. Moonball goes. Here's Golding, starting to really cook. Oh, upstairs and throwing it down, Matthew John. Live from Nissan Arena, round 15 of the Hungry Jacks NBL continues with the Brisbane Bullets playing host to a Melbourne United team on the playoff charge. The Brisbane fans are stuck back through thick and thin since the inaugural NBL season in 1979, and they're out in big numbers again for this one. But the Melbourne supporters are the ones who are excited at the moment as they are eyeing a playoff campaign which for most of the season looked out of reach. There's plenty at stake for both teams, and we're glad you could join us for Saturday Night Hoops as well here on ESPN. Alongside world champion Jenny Screen and NBL championship winner Damon Lowry, I'm John Casey. And Jen, this Melbourne team is on the charge, but a lot of questions to answer tonight for Brisbane as well.
Well, you can't lose by 49 and not show up and put on a different product, and we hope you see that tonight. But Melbourne United, boy, are they flying. Selfless toughness is what I like to describe them at the moment. They are all in, and the charge is definitely coming.
And Brisbane coming off the biggest loss in their franchise history in the 40-minute era. Well, they're going to have to dig deep tonight, but it's Melbourne who are making a lot of noise. They've won their last three, 6 of their last 7 games, Damon Lowry, and Xavier Rattan-Mays has been doing a little bit of everything.
XRM can hurt you from so many different ways, and the Melbourne United have been playing for their basketball lives, like I said the other day, for quite a few games now. So right now they are sniffing right behind, they're breathing down the necks of the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix for that 6th spot.
Rattan-Mays has led this team in scoring 9 times, in rebounding 6 times, in assists 12 times, had 20 and 6 against the Breakers in their 12-point victory on Thursday night. Do it all.
Oh, he's been brilliant for my liking, and he did it in 24 minutes off the bench as well. And obviously they were down some players, but he likes that room and space when they are down, and I think he's starting to relish that role coming off the bench. He did play a lot of starting 5 roles at the start of the season, but now he's embracing where they are at the moment, and his selflessness along with the others just makes them hard to guard.
Well, his 1-2 punch with Marcus Lee has been outstanding, and Marcus Lee, full stop, has been outstanding, Damon.
Marcus Lee's been sensational. He's just the ultimate rim protector, defense. He brings a high IQ on defense to the other side of the ball. He doesn't get himself out of position. He knows how to block shots. He's a good roll guy, and all the guys just know, just put the ball up anywhere near the square, and Marcus will finish it for you.
Yep, and he's had good support as well with his athleticism. It's been backed up, as you can see, by these numbers since he's been here. Just outstanding. So in 13 games, he's doing it all. Top 10 in rebounding, 2nd in block shots, and 65% from the field to lead that category as well. He's getting good support from Ray-John Tucker, who's been outstanding, having a great season as well. But speaking of outstanding, well, this man certainly fits into that category. We go courtside to the 4th member of our team, Derek Rucker, who arrived in Brisbane in 1990 and promptly led the league in scoring, won the MVP, and now does his best work for us here on the sidelines. Great to see you, Ruck.
Thank you, Case, and great to be here. And you will not believe it, but this is going to be Brisbane's biggest crowd of the season. Close to 5,000 people are already packed in here to see a team that is reeling off the back of a 49-point loss to the Sydney Kings. Just before the game, I spoke to Brisbane head coach Greg Vanderjack to talk to him about how he got his team up and ready to play this game both mentally and emotionally. Here's what Greg had to say.
For me, I think normality, like what's that right now in the midst of this season, and bouncing back to play this team today, but trying to get the group back to a level emotionally. Like looking at the first quarter from Sydney was where we started. There's a lot of positives to take out of that, and I think we played the way we wanted to play. It's like, how do we compartmentalize that quarter and put it into a 4-quarter performance?
And positivity is the name of the game today, Case. I expect a much better Brisbane team. Greg said they had good practices leading up to this game, but Melbourne United are hungry. They can smell a play-in appearance. This is going to be an outstanding game. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Ruck. Yes, and looking forward to Gorjok Gak, whose numbers are significantly up on his season averages in the 2 games against Melbourne, Chen.
He has been a shining light for what has been a disappointing season for Brisbane. As we look at the champion starting 5 lineup, great starting lineup. They've been doing really well. We spoke about Marcus Lee, but it's the bench that have been punching above their weight in recent times. 34 points off the bench against Brisbane in their last outing, and then 40 the other night as well.
Yeah, full credit to Melbourne. At the middle stages of the season, they were 5-10, 9th on the ladder. They were below Brisbane after 9 of the 18 rounds, and here they are now pressing for a 6th straight semi-final appearance. The Bullets starting 5 thanks to champion. One change, Tanner Krebs out with injury. That hurts, Damon.
Andrew White comes in for Tanner Krebs. It does, because Tanner gives you a little bit of everything. So it'll be interesting to see how this team bounces back.
Underway at Nissan Arena in Brisbane, and the Bullets have started with possession. And a chance for them to open scoring here and just try and get them feeling good about themselves once more. As Baines patiently waits for Kadee, who works into the paint, takes them on and draws a whistle.
Good start by the Bullets. Got the ball through hands, got Baines in a nice little pick and roll, dribble handoff, and Kadee gets downhill, gets himself to the foul line. That's a good start.
Foul's called on Chris Golding. And timeout has been called straight away here. How do you like that? 18 seconds played. Timeout.
That's got to be the record.
Definitely got to be the record.
We're going to see a coach's challenges. Surely that won't be a coach's challenge that early in the game. A timeout called here before a point has been scored. And for Melbourne United, as I mentioned, slow start to the season. And hamstrung a little bit by injury as well, that slow start. But for Brisbane, well, they've lost 9 of their last 10. They lost their first 5. It is a coach's challenge. We're going to see it here early. And Brisbane have had to use 17 players this season. They've had 10 different starters, and that type of disruption has to have an impact.
It does. I mean, it will and it does, but it's no different to any other team in the league, is it, Damon? I mean, we talk about Illawarra Hawks, and they've had just as much disruption, obviously not from a head coaching point of view, but a player roster change as well, but they keep showing up. And for Brisbane and my liking, as we see the challenge here right now, we're contesting potentially the foul against Chris Golding, but for mine, it's enough about talking for Brisbane. Just let your game do what it needs to be done on the court.
You're talking to the wrong guy when you're talking about different lineups and different guys being in or out, because I'm all about the guys that are dressed. I'm not so much worried about the guys who are not dressed, so you just got to find a way.
All right, the coach's challenge is successful. Hey, hang on. Coach's challenge is successful. The call on the court is overturned. It's now an offensive foul on Jason Kitty 5. Offense!
Well, let's go to Scott Butler, head of the referees, for an explanation there. That's a big turnover, not only wiping away the foul called on Golding, but now a foul called on Kadee, Scott.
Yeah, John, so when you look at that play, you see that the Goulden actually does nothing wrong. He establishes position, he slides laterally and backwards. Kadee jumps off his right foot, changes direction and jumps into Goulding. He's the one responsible for the contact. The block charge play is the only one that we can actually reverse on review.
There you go. So the only one that can be reversed is Peatling, open scoring.
We'll take back everything I said about Brisbane's start, saying since it was still good action, though. Still good action. They can go back to that action, which they look like they're going to do right here.
Baines wanted Kadee. This time Golding denied him, but he found it baseline. Gets it back from Mitchell. Kadee fires. It's off the mark. Well done, Baines. The offensive rebound. Ball slapped out of his hands. Regathers, goes with a hook shot and opens Brisbane's account.
And that's what you want to see. Points on the board early. They had a great start in that colossal loss the other night. In the opening 9 minutes, they were actually really sensational. And speaking of someone that will want to bounce back, is Shea Illy, who was part of that first assist in the opening possession. He was quiet the other night. Had the 5 turnovers uncharacteristically from him and 1 of 6, I think, from the field.
Yes, it was a curious game against New Zealand. Well played by Melbourne to get a 12-point victory there. The Breakers, without Barry Brown, just couldn't get any scoring momentum. And Melbourne were able to do a great defensive job, in fact, their best defensive job of the season, restricting the Breakers to just 65. As Kadee gets it from Sobey, works to the baseline, and now Baines around the perimeter. Hands over to White and gets it back, although the pass just eluded him. Here's Tucker in the open court, adds another 2.
I am shocked that Tucker didn't touch his knees with that ball before he laid that up. I thought he was going to dunk that one for sure, but good all-around pressure by the United. They stayed involved, even though Baines, he looked like he might have had something easy. They stayed in the play, ended up getting a transition bucket.
Sobey bounce pass, and now 3-second violation going to be called on Aaron Baines. So that's 3 turnovers here for Brisbane in the space of the first 2 minutes.
That's unfortunate because right now the intent of Brisbane Bullets on the offensive end and their execution, their ball movement, their player movement, and the intensity at which they're moving that is actually really nice to watch. Just an unfortunate error there. Potentially they need to look at Aaron Baines earlier to not get those 3-second calls.
Average 16 turnovers a game, Brisbane, the most in the competition, as Tucker wheels down low and adds another 2 to his tally. 4-point break here, and timeout has been called by Greg Vanderjagt, and the Brisbane Bullets tick over 2 minutes play.
Greg's got something that he wants to get off his chest. Great job by United. Rajon Tucker getting downhill. A downhill Tucker is a great Tucker, and they go to that dribble weave action, and once he's coming off that corner, he just out-athleticizes everybody.
He does. I like it. Let's get a word with Rajon right now. Pre-game, he spoke to Derek Rucker about this matchup with the Bullets.
We're taking them just like they're one of the top teams in the league. We know they just had a rough one against Sydney the other day, so they're hungry. They've been hungry all year. And, you know, if I was in their position, I'll be one of those teams that's trying to ruin somebody's season. And we're in a position to make a run, and this would be a game where they could potentially, you know, put a dent in what we're trying to do. So taking it very seriously, never lightly.
A nice little run from Melbourne United in the past 6 weeks. What's been the key to this revival? You guys are now right back in the mix when a lot of people have counted you out.
You know, just doing the defensive things. You know, defense wins championships, so just dialing in on that end. You know, number-wise, we're one of the best scoring teams in the league, so just limiting turnovers, dialing in on the defensive end, and just doing what we do best, just listening to the coach and the game plan and the scout. So.
Really like his professionalism, what he brings to the table. Had a slow start of the season after he had talked the talk, but the longer the season has gone, the better that he has got. And as I mentioned, that game against New Zealand on Wednesday, had a quiet night, 7.6 boards, but just 1 of 3 in 27 minutes. So he's prepared to sacrifice his own game, even though he is a scorer and an athlete, as long as his team can get the win.
He spoke very well on Annalise Maley's podcast about just learning more about himself and just this experience that he's going through right now. And he's ate a little bit of humble pie, but he's also eager to learn, as Bainesy misses a little lefty hook. But he's also got guys on that bench in the form of Daryl McDonald, Reese Carter, who have really gotten his ear and just to help him be a better pro. And he's responding.
Yeah, on cue, comes up with another. So he has 6 of United's 8 points, and they lead by that number.
Can I get Derek?
Almost 3 minutes played here in this opening quarter, and that's a little better from the Brisbane Bullets.
Derek, what do you see down there on the baseline so far, man?
They can bring it to me.
Derek, sorry, man. What do you see down there on the baseline so far from the Bullets' point of view?
Well, right now, they came out with nice energy as Golding lets one fly and drains it. That's a bad sign. But the Bullets started off with good intent. I thought the offense had good energy. Defensively, Sobey was trying to dictate it with some physical play, but unfortunately, those turnovers and the carefree approach with the ball are just killing them. Baines, nice tip in. But overall, you know, the intent does look much better, as Jenny mentioned earlier. But Tucker just keeps getting on the rack.
Their defensive transition right now, whether it's off a score down there or whether it's a missed shot, they're just not locking up and tagging up on their players right now. And Rajon Tucker is just having his way on the offensive end, especially out on the break. And Damon mentioned it earlier, when he gets some speed and behind him and heading downhill, he is almost unstoppable. And look at that mateship there on the bench with Tucker as well, with Rajon, not with Tucker, but with XRM as well.
Amy replay showing Tucker's skills very well. 4 of 5 from the field for 8 points here, so he's got more already now in 3.5 minutes than he had for the entire game against New Zealand on Thursday.
Tucker's on his way to a nice little 30-piece, and they're all from 2 feet.
Which he's already had this season as Sobey goes to work. His opening shot wouldn't tumble, though, and here's Tucker once more. Tyler Johnson tried to contain him unsuccessfully. Peatling back for Golding. Now they find Tucker in the corner. He is cooking, can't make that fit. And Peatling in over the back of Sobey, knocks the ball down out of court. The Bullets will get possession.
May not have got the points and reward there, but they actually had great execution. The Melbourne of old would have shot that really quick pace shot, if you will, in the opening 8 seconds of that shot clock, but they chose otherwise. They tried to move the ball, get some inside-outside action, and get an open shot.
Tyler Johnson from close range should have done better. Baines couldn't clean it up either. And Tucker pushes the ball quickly up the floor to Marcus Lee, who turns and takes Harrison on. Gets the 2, draws a foul.
That is big time by Marcus Lee. Everybody says we can't really throw the ball into the post of Marcus. I said, who said that?
Yeah,
I'm not so sure. Look at the footwork of this guy. Very nimble. Put Terrell Harrison under the paint right there and just finished easily.
I like him. I'm a fan. I was courtside when he put on the singlet for the first time back in December for the Melbourne United. People were talking about how poor his stats were. He wasn't going to be able to contribute, but they don't need stars. They need role players. They need glue pieces, and he has got no ego, and he's happy to fill whatever role, and that role right now for the Melbourne United on this streak that they're on is a pretty good one.
So Brisbane with their hands full early. They've coughed it up again. Turnover number 4 for them. Xavier Rattan-Mays hands off, and an easy finish there for Brad Newley to get in on the act as well. So it's a 12-point lead.
And how good was Newells the other night against New Zealand? He had 14 points off the bench and 9 in the game previous to that. Nice little punch and cameo rolls from him recently.
Winding back the clock as Baines draws contact and earns a trip to the free throw line.
And that's what the Bullets got to do to get Bainesy involved. Attack the basket, draw the second defender. Baines is going to camp out right there, drop him off something easy. He will either finish it or get the and one.
And he needs to be a factor, because when they win, out of the 4 out of the 5 wins they've had, he's been a double-double, 13.5 points, 11.8 rebounds. He is a factor, and he needs to be a factor if they're going to win.
Derek Rucker courtside.
So often we talk about critical moments in ball games, and so many new fans to basketball think it happens in the 4th quarter. But it can come at any point, and right now is that point for the Bullets. They have to find a way to respond. It would help if Aaron knocks down this second free throw, but this is usually where they give in, Jenny. And right here is mental resilience, toughness, all those intangibles that we talk about. They have to show up right now. Otherwise, this thing is going to get ugly quick.
Perhaps they've got to fly Damon Larry up there for a little bit of a chat on mental toughness and resilience.
I'm thinking about starting a speaking tour. As Rasmus Bach checks in, Big Harry Frawling checks in as well. So Greg is going to his bench, so these guys have to step in here and produce. I'm looking for Tyler Johnson now with this group on the floor. He's got to get the scoreboard ticking over.
Middle stages of the opening quarter. Already Melbourne with a double-figure lead. Golding has been part of that. Knocking down the 3. Aquera. Rattan-Mays bounces off Tyler Johnson. Pass is batted down, though. Here's a chance of Rasmus Bach, and goes back to Johnson. Almost lost the handle. Harrison, he's effective when he gets the ball. And as you can see from close range, he is hard to contain.
He's one of the guys of the future. I would sign him up in a heartbeat, Jim, just to keep him in the program. And just the fact that he could score on a Marcus Lee type shows how valuable he can be.
84% from the field. This on limited shots. 21 of 24, but he's taking on Marcus Lee, worried him out of the points. Loose ball comes back to Rattan-Mays, though, and Melbourne can reset here and look to build on an 8-point edge. Rattan-Mays to take a shot in the game. He's going to change that now and come up with his opening score.
That is tough. Really tough elevation there, smooth off the hand, and a beautiful finish from XRM.
6 scorers already in the game for Melbourne. Johnson steps outside the three-point line, caught it short. Lee grabs the rebound, wrestling with Harry Frolling. 5 rebounds apiece. As Atan Mays exploring, confronted there by Harry Frolling. Aquera decides to fire, and that's all the bottom of the net as well.
The unassuming David Aquera doesn't always back himself. I'd love to see him just play with a little bit more aggression, but he is so capable of knocking that shot down. This is danger time, like Derek said, for Brisbane.
Frolling off the mark, and a chance now for Melbourne to build on a 13-point edge. Newley with his foot on the accelerator against Rasmus Bach. Contact and a delayed whistle, but eventually it arrived, and free throws to come here with Brisbane over the limit. But David Aquera started the season in the starting lineup, is now coming off the bench. But you're right, Damon, I don't think we've seen the best of him, and he just needs to believe in himself a little more, because he's got all the tools there. We've seen it for him playing for the Boomers.
You think about a guy like that, 6'11", skilled. What would have happened had he gone to college and maybe did 4 years at the University of Kentucky or somewhere? But he got a chance to be here in Melbourne United and play professional, starts his career early, so good luck to him.
And as you can see, we have got a great party going here with Shaquille O'Neal and the USA. Your chance to win the trip of a lifetime for you and a mate to meet Shaquille O'Neal. Flights, accommodation, spending money, the works. You can enter via the QR code on your screen or go to shaq.nbl.com.au for a piece of what is one of the best prizes in Australian sport at the moment. So the margin is 15. And we've got a whistle off the ball here as well.
White 12. A block.
Well, Callum Dalton's called for the foul, former Brisbane player. Rasmus Bach just feeling it in the shoulder as well.
That little bump in the Dalton family is just called, hello, how you going?
Bach guarded by Newley. Johnson goes with the left hand. The floater wouldn't work. Hits the loose ball, though, and goes back to work. Frolling looking for the clean-up, too, draws contact and a trip to the free-throw line.
And that's the persistence we need to see. The 1%ers, the blue-collar work needs to be found on the offensive end for the Brisbane Bullets. If there are any chance of closing this deficit and finding some momentum in this last 3 minutes of the opening quarter.
Harry Frolling to the free-throw line. 66% free throw shooter this season. Just hasn't had the year that he would have liked. 6 points, 4 rebounds has been his return this season for Harry Frolling. We know what he's capable of. Has career highs 27, 8 threes in a game.
Yep, we know what he's capable of. Hey, Derek, what's your thoughts on Harry Frolling, this season he's having so far? After being with Brian Gorgon last year, showing glimpses of being a real rotational guy, what do you see this season, NBL 2023, for him so far?
Well, I don't think the style of play has suited Harry. Brisbane are second in the competition in pace, and that just really doesn't suit his game much. I think he needs more of a half-court, better structured, offensively type team, and I think they had a little bit more of that last season in Illawarra. And obviously the coaching instability here hasn't helped his situation at all either.
Sobey comes up with his first score in the game, just his second shot. A little over 2 minutes out from quarter time. Like to see him a little more heavily involved at the offensive end. Ratan May steps beyond the perimeter. Frolling showed him no respect at all, and he said, well, take that.
Well, that's just an advantage. You're taking on Harry Frolling, not the quickest off step, and especially guarding someone like XRM, as we see Sobey doing Sobey things and going downhill and getting one on the rack as well. But a much needed timeout. They're getting scores. That's not the problem. It's the defensive end right now for Brisbane, and they've got to tidy that up real quick.
This is the definition of a mismatch right here. Harry on XRM. And that timeout being called by Dean Vickerman, he's saying, look, we're trying to play some playoff basketball. We can't be giving up back-to-back layups by Nathan Sobey. So this timeout will be just to settle these guys down. Even though this game on paper is supposed to be a blowout, Jen, they got to play the right way to United.
No doubt about that at all. Rick Vanderjagt is trying to remind his team of that here in the opening quarter. And right throughout January, for every dunk during the month, Sportsbet is donating $500 to Australian prostate cancer. It's a great cause. Get behind it. 82 dunks, $41,000 already. Ray John Tucker's been happy to get involved heavily. And it's such a worthy cause because, sadly, 1 in 6 Australian men will develop prostate cancer before the age of 85. It's the most common cancer diagnosed in Australia. So if you'd like more information or to make a donation along with what we're doing here in Dunkery, thanks to Sportsbet, you can go to australiansprostatecancer.org.au. Ray John Tucker told us pre-season he was going to be exciting people, and he's lived up to the billing.
Has he ever? This guy falls out of the sky. Once he gets in transition, like I said, he is he's a highlight reel. And to couple that, he's shooting the ball great. He's shooting 30. He's right behind Chris Golden in percentage from the three-point line, so he's really improved his game this season.
42 threes at 38%, so top 10 in the competition in hitting threes. Here's Ratar Mays going solo, talked out of the points by Aaron Baines, who left him spread-eagled on the floor.
Any collision with Baines, if you can get up from it, it's a good result.
It's a win. So Ratar Mays sits down. Shea Illy checks in. 9 players used by Melbourne here in this opening quarter. 7 of them have scored. Brisbane with 5 scorers, and pressure up the floor here. Cody Statman's going to have to do the ball carrying duties. Gets it across to Sobey. Now Gack. Johnson back to Gack. Extra pass. Statman guarded by Newley. That's the young and the old at it there. Pass was ambitious. Gack did well to reel it in. Feeds Baines for the flush.
Nice assist, Gack, way to move the ball. It looked a little bit shaky from the start, but they got the right finish in the end. And right now, the Bullets don't have a point guard on the floor, so this last minute 18 could be interesting.
Shot clock works to 10 here. Ray John Tucker being busy. 9 points. Can't come up with the goods on that occasion. And a chance here for Brisbane just to edge a little closer here. They've scored the last 4. Sobey exploring. Wanted Gack involved. He was cut out, and here's a good chance for Ray John Tucker to add to the tally for Dunkery, and he does just that. So 11 here in the opening quarter, and Melbourne have their highest scoring opening quarter of the season.
Well, Tucker points, but that was all off Marcus Lee effort down on the defensive end, protecting the rim like he has been since he came into this uniform and doing some special things as we see this penetration. Just came over and helped. David Quera had to help onto Sobey, but Marcus Lee just climbed up stairs and thought better of it against Gorjak Gack, who found a little errant hand as well into the face.
So an explosive start here from Melbourne United as they look to continue their streak. On their last 3 games, 6 of their last 7. Since losing 5 in a row in the middle stages of the season.
Sorry, Case. I don't know if Ray John Tucker has just stumbled onto a new clever way to cherry pick. But if you run into a screen at the three-point line and stay down on the floor and they get the rebound, you can just leak out. As Baines puts the finishing touches on another one.
Been a good opening quarter for Aaron Baines as well. He now has 10 points in the game on 4 of 6 shooting. With 5 boards, 4 of those offensive rebounds. 3 ball on this occasion wouldn't work. Kept alive. Here's Tucker once more. He's everywhere at the moment. He adds another 2. He's got 13, and United have got 34 here in the first stanza.
And they've been sensational, relentless on the offensive end, moving the ball. Marcus Lee involved yet again as we see Aaron Baines just taking a breather there. May have been a collision there on the rebounding contest, but hopefully he's okay because he's having a sensational opening quarter for the Brisbane Bullets at the moment with those 8 points. And pre-New Year's, he was pretty good. He had 2 double-doubles in a row and just lacking that continuity and consistency throughout his season. We know he's coming back from a pretty significant injury, but his last 2 games, he's only had the 7 and 2 points.
When we saw Baines in the blitz at the start of the preseason in Darwin, he was playing with such a joy. He was so happy to be playing again. I'd like to see if he can just bring that back for these last 4 to 5 games, 6 games they have left.
He's certainly enjoying it tonight with those numbers that we've mentioned. Jason Kadee back onto the floor, playing with 2 fouls, including that controversial one at the start of the game. Johnson shut down Marcus Lee, wasn't buying any of that, and threw it out of there.
That's what Marcus does. I mean, good luck to you. When you penetrate it anywhere near his direction, he's so disciplined on D. You very rarely see him jump and leave his feet until it's time to block it. You know, I think they might teach that at University of Kentucky because this dude named Anthony Davis does that quite well.
Isaac Humphries as well. Harrison bubbled the pass. Lee, three-quarter court. He wasn't far off the money. And Melbourne United have burst out of the blocks here in Brisbane. Their highest scoring quarter of the season. It's Melbourne 34, Brisbane 20. We've got more for you in the Hungry Jacks NBL in just a moment. Welcome back to Saturday Night Hoops here in the Hungry Jacks NBL, and Melbourne United, hottest team in the competition outside the top two on a three-game winning streak, have started on fire here. 34-20. The lead was as big as 16. It settles at 14 at the end of the opening quarter. And it was largely off the back of Rajon Tucker with those 13 points. Baines, he's been fighting hard with the 10 points and 5 rebounds as well, but it's the 6 turnovers. And of those 6 turnovers for the Brisbane Bullets, Melbourne United have come up with those 10 points. Illy had the ball knocked away. Harrison was good at the defensive end. Tyler Johnson works baseline. Well done. Good look inside from Sobey to find Harrison for the finishing touches.
Now that's some play that we haven't seen a whole lot of this season from the Bullets. That extra pass. Tyler Johnson throws an extra good pass over to Sobey in the corner. And Sobey normally would shoot that, but he made the extra pass for Terrell Harrison to get him a bucket. Aquera's pass is off the mark. Sobey tried to thread the needle to Jason Kadee, and Aquera a hand in there just to deflect it out of court. This is a danger game case, I think, for the United, because obviously they've gone through a little bit of hell to put themselves in a position now to make the 6. And now you come to Brisbane and play, and coming off of what Brisbane just did, you might tend to relax just a little bit. And Brisbane looks like they're playing with some little bit of pride. Anything can happen if the United stuff this around. Here's Tucker. Busy. Aquera ready to go once more. Couldn't make it fit. Well done, Illy, to keep it alive with the offensive rebound. Rebounds were 8 apiece coming into this second quarter. And there's a danger man you just cannot leave alone. CG, the most patient scorer, I think, in the league. Can go so quiet, take one shot as Terrell Harrison gets another bucket on Marcus Lee. But you don't even have to worry about CG. He's opportunistic, and he will hunt. You know, it's only a matter of time. And if he only takes 2 shots, he's probably going to make them both. And he loves playing against the Brisbane Bullets in their 2 previous outings. He's had 20 points apiece in both those games. And as we see Tyler Harrison, the big man, going up against the other one, Marcus Lee, and coming up victor there.
He's having some good productivity early on in this opening half for the Brisbane Bullets.
Let's go courtside to Derek Rucker.
And continuing on with Chris Goulding, at the beginning of that quarter-time break, he was in the huddle with his teammates, and Coach Gene Vickerman was still with his little coaches group, and Goulding said, guys, we gave up 20. It should only realistically be 14. 20 seconds later, Coach Gene Vickerman comes into the huddle, and the first thing he says is, guys, we gave up 20. That should only have been 14. That type of synchronicity between your main man and the coach is invaluable, and this is the reason why you can never give up on Melbourne United.
Spot on, Derek. These guys on the same page and have been for quite a few games now.
Shady with it, shot clock. Rolls now to 5. Kadee, Aquera, needs to get it up quickly. Looks inside, was patient, found Tucker. Foul going to be called here on Melbourne United. Marcus Lee was in the vicinity. Second personal for Marcus Lee. It's averages 3 a game. He's top 4 in the competition. He can be a little foul prone, and with Isaac Humphries out injured, it's an area that they need to be very aware of.
That's it. We saw that happen in New Zealand. He got himself in early foul trouble, and we got a lot of Callum Dalton. He came in and played well in his minutes. And that was a good box out then by Jason Kadee. He got caught in the rotations. He had no choice but to box out the 7-footer and drew a foul.
Harrison from close range, worried out of the points. Gack looking for the clean-up too, and opens his scoring account. So enterprising start here to the second quarter. 7 points to 3 is the run for Brisbane as Harrison is called for the foul. His second personal.
Ray-John Tucker doing a good job of just exploring. Always they say to guards, attack the hip, the outside hip of the big, and you're likely to draw yourself a foul.
First foul on Brisbane in this second quarter. Melbourne have committed 2 since quarter time. As Illy looks to restart. Aquera gets it back. Elevates for the triple off the mark. Lee got a piece of it. And the ball trickles out of court. And off Tyler Johnson, according to Nico Fernandez. So Melbourne with another opportunity here. Just 1 of 4 from the field since quarter time, but Goulding is equal to the challenge.
Sorry, Jen, doesn't need much space, does he?
No, he doesn't. He's got smart IQ as well. Just knows where to be at the right times and finds all those little sneaky gaps.
Harrison wrestling his way down low and called for a travelling violation. Well done, Marcus Lee. Turnovers continue to mount here for Brisbane. 7 already in the game. United has 3 in that category.
And I don't mind that in that possession from the Brisbane Bullets, so they actually went down low to Tyler Harrison because we know Marcus Lee's on the 2 fouls. With 7.5 minutes to go in the second. You potentially want to push and try and get him into that 3rd foul.
Well, it's hard to contain, isn't it? As soon as you make a run at them, they come back hard, and Melbourne United have opened this up now to a 15-point edge.
Same exact thing happened, except it happened later in the second half. Chris Goulding just all of a sudden just got hot and blew the game wide open. Brisbane's, I like their concerted effort on the glass. They're gang rebounding, they're making things hard inside, but they got to find Chris Goulding.
Well, we spoke about Xavier Rattan-Mays a little earlier. We're going to hear more from him at halftime in a special feature. Here's just a taste for you.
My love came from Toronto, playing at the YMCA. I used to get there at like 10 a.m. and stay till like 5, 6 p.m. My grandma used to bring me lunch because I would never come home. I left home at 13 years old to go pursue this dream to play basketball. I look at some 13-year-olds and I'm like, man, I left at your age. So, you know, it was tough.
Very interesting character, Xavier Rattan-Mays, and it's not a lot he can't do on a basketball court. His career highs here in the NBL, he's had 33 points, he's had 11 rebounds, he's had 10 assists, he's hit 6 threes. He's just a weapon wherever he is on the floor.
Absolutely, and it's a nice weapon to have for Dean Vickerman when he's coming off the bench as well. He's just played the touch over 4 minutes and 5 points and already a rebound and a couple assists to his name, but he's just been effective for them. Start of the year, he was in the starting 5 and was a little bit more self-centered in what he wanted to do in his productivity. But now, just like the rest of the team, it's just that selflessness that's giving them that momentum that they need to push for that top 6 position.
And I'm loving the backstories that we're getting from the teams. The league has done a great job of that. Guys are opening up, giving us a little bit of an insight into their life, and can't wait to hear that full story.
Teague takes it from Sobey. Almost 3 minutes played here in the second. Two-man game between Boomers. Inside Kadeen, he did thread the needle, found White, who's fouled off to the free throw line.
Andrew White's a quiet one. Obviously came in late into the team, but you know, out of University of Nebraska, can shoot, can score. Just another good basketball player to have on the team. And it was good to see him just moving without the ball. He doesn't need the ball to be passed directly to him. He can get himself involved by just movement. Good pass by Kadee.
Shot the ball well since being here. White 38% from deep. Played the 8 games. A tough scenario to walk into. Just doing what he can to ease the situation here for the Brisbane Bullets.
We got 3 guys out here, Case, in the league from the University of Nebraska. Ty Webster, obviously Jack McVeigh, and Andrew White. The Big Ten.
Makes the adjustment there and knocks down the free throw. Margin at 13. Started this quarter with Melbourne on top by 14. And Chris Golding has all 8 points for Melbourne here in this second quarter. As Tucker bypasses him on this occasion. Golding through the key. Tucker in traffic. Harrison. That's heavy contact. And Harrison's going to pick up his 3rd personal.
Guys.
But how good is that? The slow, almost EuroLeague, if you like, pace of the offense of Melbourne United at the moment. And just the smarts there from Rajon Tucker to know he's got a bigger type on him, to get him in the air with that nice little pump fake. Nothing special, nothing fancy, but now Tyler Harrison finds himself on the bench with his 3rd foul.
No. Guys, that's
and he was playing well too, Terrell. You got to have foul discipline. Yes, he doesn't play a whole lot, but in situations like that, you got to be able to protect yourself, big fella. We need to see you out there on the court.
Oh, no, I'm saying he didn't try and take him out. He didn't jump at him. That's not what the call. I understand it's not what the call's for.
I thought it unsportsmanlike, just too heavy-handed, and while they're doing that this season, with thanks to Latrobe Financial, we are giving away a guaranteed $50,000. You heard right, 50K. Enter now at nbl.com.au/legends for your chance to win.
I'm with Jason Kadee on this one.
Me too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, you get the pump fake was exquisite. You get the big guy up in the air and he lands on your back. Well, I mean, what's he supposed to do?
Derek Rucker courtside.
I agree. That's a terrible call. There was no malice or anything, and I know that's not necessarily part of the criteria, but still, that's just a basketball play, an unfortunate basketball play.
Peatling cleans up his own mess, goes back to the left hand and rattles around, and he's got his 2nd field goal.
And what it is also is a momentum killer. You know, Brisbane were just starting to, find their way, close that deficit just a little bit with a bit of momentum going their way, and then whack, an unsportsmanlike foul, 2 buckets from the foul line, and then an extra one from Peatling.
Now technical foul is going to be called, it would appear.
The technical foul. 5-9 for fake number 2. 1 shot.
So a flop warning earlier, and now a 2nd time. So a technical foul called on Rajon Tucker here.
Now Rajon has been flopping around all game so far. He has a tendency, and it's not just him in the league doing this, where the head just goes back and the arms flail back. And the referee, like in America, I guess sometimes guys get away with that, but they're trying to reel that in over here, which is good.
Sobey to the free throw line, gets there more than any other player for the Brisbane Bullets. 87% this season, Nathan Sobey.
Your head going flying, just wear too much. Let's go.
Your head going flying, Jen.
Explanation from Nico Fernandez. So Brisbane now get it possession. Bangs down in the low block. Wanted it initially. They couldn't find a passing lane. Mitchell, penetration, kicks to Kadee, who fires. Wouldn't work for him, and Mitchell can only succeed in knocking it down out of court.
DJ Mitchell's another interesting one. Like, He's normally a little bit more aggressive than this, but he's making the right plays, and that's the main thing. Like, he probably hasn't quite found his groove just yet. But it's just good to see him still being active and making good basketball plays.
I thought he started the season really well. He had some good punch. He was in the starting lineup and has just faded away. But fading away also is from the three-point line for the Brisbane Bullets. They've had some good looks from downtown, but they haven't been able to find form. They're 10th in the league in terms of shooting, 32% from deep.
Mitchell was great earlier on, had 20 and 10 in a game against the Kings. His Golding has been live wire here in the second. Couldn't get that to go, and such is the way it's fallen. Came back to him and lost it. Here's Ray John Tucker with support. Wants to bounce into Baines and lost control of the ball in the process. And going to be called for the foul as well.
And that's exactly what you're going to do if you go into Baines's midsection. You're going to bounce. You're bouncing backwards because he ain't going backwards. Situation like this, I thought he might have kicked that one over to Newley, but he gets to try to get downhill once again. But like I said, Baines is a mountain that doesn't move.
4 fouls on Melbourne here in this second quarter. It's an area that Brisbane might be able to exploit with 5.5 still on the clock. Baines has been good. 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting, all in that opening quarter. He's got 5 boards as well to lead that category in the game. So Sobey guarded by Sha'ili. Little Boomers versus Tall Blacks action there. Kadee got beyond Golding, down low, rattled around the rim and jumped out. Baines with a clean up too. He's got 12 now. Only Tucker with 14 has more in the game.
Well, they've been efficient on the offensive boards, have the Brisbane Bullets with 7 now for the game. They're the little things that they need right now just to get that momentum back. And great job there from Aaron Baines.
Tucker works on Andrew White, lost control, ball spills to Sobey. Kadee peels off, joining him Mitchell. Sobey goes solo, good option as he gets the 2 and draws a foul.
And Sobey's going to get live and try to get this crowd involved. Tucker just over-dribbled the life out of it that time as we look at the Amy replay and see Sobey also getting downhill, which he does just as good as anybody in the league.
And that's what Brisbane love to do. They love to force the turnover and then get out and run. They have the ability with their speed in the likes of Sobey and Jason Kadee. And then they've got their spot-up shooters in Mitchell and also Johnson there ready to fire.
So middle stages of the second, margin cut to 11, was as big as 16. And of course, we had a 16-point buffer there in the opening quarter for Melbourne as well, but you can see a little bit of starch about Brisbane in this game, a little bit of character. And like what Baines is bringing to the table, he has 12 points. Nathan Sobey has 7. Just need to rein in the turnover count at the moment. They've got 8 in that category to 5 from Melbourne. This just feels a little closer than an 11-point margin suggests.
After making history the wrong way the other day, Case, the Bullets have come out and they're playing with some pride. They're playing with a little bit more of a, you know, they upset the basketball guys. They're trying to make amends, and so far, they're doing okay.
And I think that's really important, and that's all their fans and front office is asking for, just to play the right way. Give it all you got, focus on what you can control, contribute what you can, stay in your lane, stay in your role, and let's see what we can do. And if we lose, then so be it. And right now, they're punching above their weight and making a little run here against Melbourne United.
Derek, we've both been in teams, in games when you're supposed to win that game. What's that mentality like, you think, down there for the United right now? Are they just taking it a little bit too relaxed, thinking they can switch it on whenever they're ready?
Well, I think as Jenny alluded to just then, Brisbane are desperate. They're trying to, you know, they're playing for pride, and they were disgraced and embarrassed on a historic level the other night. And so United, I think they're very professional. They're smart. They understand that they're going to take some hits, more hits than the Kings took the other night, and that they just have to be disciplined, stay to the game plan, and over the course of 40 minutes, it will work out for the betterment of them.
Beatling with it, shot clock to single digits as Illy joins in, guarded by Kadee. Now in red numbers, the shot clock. Illy exploring, found a way down to the baseline and came up with a finish. His first points in the game.
Good penetration by Shea. He was disciplined. He was poised. Late in the shot clock, he brought Bainesy up into the pick and roll. Once he turned that corner, they had no weak side help. Got himself an easy 2.
The pass from Kadee. Sobey has to go back and retrieve it. Now Baines down low against Peatling. Skip pass. Sobey looks off the D, got rid of Golding, penetrates and takes them on and draws a foul. So free throws to come here for Sobey.
And this is what Sobey does so well. He makes up his mind to attack the basket. Bainsey, I think, helped him out with a little bit of a shepherd, maybe. But yeah, once he gets his head on that rim, he's tough to stop.
Dean Vickerman, Summers, Rajon Tucker to check back into the game. So they've actually called this an offensive foul on Brisbane.
Maybe they caught Bainsey with the shepherd.
So Newley restarts and gets it back from Golding. Rattan Mays. A little over 4 minutes out from halftime. First of our double headers. Ambitious pass there from Rattan Mays. Brad Newley not quite ready for it, and they'll turn it over. But a little later, we're heading off to Perth for some history making of our own there, with the Wildcats opening the roof ahead of their game against the Adelaide 36ers. Such an important game in terms of playoff implications. 8 o'clock Eastern. A historic night in the Wild West. Really looking forward to that. Here's Golding, been good here in the second, this time off the mark. Mitchell the rebound. So 12 rebounds apiece in the game, after it was 8 rebounds apiece at quarter time. Baines, just the 2 points in this quarter after having 10 in the opening term. And the shot clock rolls to single digits as Mitchell, isolated against Newley, too athletic, gets by, can't convert. Wyatt the offensive rebound, but they have stepped out of court. Melbourne are going to get it.
I like to see Brisbane punish that matchup, that Baines, Mason Peatling matchup. Baines's got to be aggressive and just seal him deep in the NBL logo sign and make Mason have to jump on his back or foul him.
He had that in the last possession when he kicked it out to Sobey, who went downhill and had that penetration offensive foul on the catch. Just be a little bit more selfish. Don't even look to throw it out. And if then they do come, then you've got that option.
It's a little over 3 minutes out from half-time. A good fight back from Brisbane. They gave up 34 in the opening quarter, just 13 in this term so far. Rattan Mays looking to add to that is off the mark. Aquera gets the loose ball. Shot clock to 1. Golding flying through the air. Can't convert. Lee gets the offensive rebound. Tucker decides to let fly. They were overdue, and Tucker's now got 17 to lead the game.
Never fails. Sorry, Jen.
No.
Offensive rebound, kick out for the 3. How many times have we seen that happen?
Well, with Marcus Lee is involved, it's definitely going to happen. Those 1% possessions for Melbourne United, he's just relentless at right now.
Tyler Johnson, none of 5 from the field, including none of 2 from deep. Yet to score in the game as Golding goes behind the back to Marcus Lee. Tucker wheeling into the paint, dishes outside. Aquera, feet set, fires, can't convert. And Sobey feeds Tyler Johnson, who's overdue. Wants to lob it down low. Here's Mitchell working on Aquera. Hustling up down in the low block, and the finish was nice. His first points in the game.
Good score by DJ. He can go down low. He can bully, play some bully ball. He can shoot the 3. He's got a quite an offensive package. Good to see him being aggressive.
Tom Mays. Set to Lee, now Tucker. Lob pass inside for Lee. Had to display it quickly. Gets Golding a good look in the corner. Can't convert. Lee's got it back again. Now Rattan Mays puts it on the deck. And the tip in. And a foul. A whistle on the play.
There is a type of relentlessness right now from Melbourne United that I have not seen in the earlier stages of this NBL23 season right now. That toughness, that grit and determination to be persistent at both ends of the floor is just a pleasure to watch. It's not pretty, doesn't take rocket science, but somehow they must have sat down collectively after that loss when they're up by 8 against Perth back in December and just got everyone around the table and said, what are we going to do with our season? And right now, it's humming very, very well. And I'd hate to meet them if they do, in fact, make that 6.
Fans are a chance here. Aquera, 70% free throw shooter, 14 of 20 coming into this game. And he's provided the Hungry Jacks burgers. And the Bullets fans, the code word is base. Queensland, get to it. Hungry Jacks, free cheeseburgers for all.
All right, Case, let's add David Aquera to the list of guys giving up free food.
Nothing wrong with that. So the margin is 13 inside the last 2 minutes of this first half. Johnson picks up the dribble. Froling works to the corner. Gets it back from Sobey. It's like Share the ball around. Johnson puts it on the deck. Nothing on offer for him. White outside, overcooked the three. Missed the lot. Sobey's going to have to pull the trigger here. Tried the lob pass in the end, and the shot clock expires in the background.
Good defense by the United. They was scrambling. I watched Shea Illy-guard 3 people on that possession. They didn't give up on the play at all. Ended up with a shot clock violation. Good D.
So the margin 13, been as big as 16. Melbourne looking to get to 500 on the road. They're 5-6 coming into this game as Tan Mays and Illy share it around. Now lead, baseline. Goes to Tucker. That's 17, including 4 in this quarter. After an explosive start to the game, Aquera from close range can't convert. White puts a stop to it.
Brisbane jumped it up a little bit, then went to a 2-3 zone. Got a little bit lost in it, but still managed to force United into a tough shot.
Well done, Shea Illy again at the defensive end. Stripped the ball away from Andrew White before he could get an effective shot away. Now Ratan Mays. Mismatch here against Gorjok Gak. Likes his chances. Throws it up in the air. Lee says, I'll finish that for you.
And that's the selfless basketball that we've come to see from Melbourne United. XRM in the early parts of the season, he probably would have put that one on the rim himself, but thought better of it. But it's the defense from Melbourne United that is holding them tight right now. And we saw that against New Zealand. They kept him to 30. And right now, Brisbane with a 37.
Is Sobey in traffic, worried out of the points. Well done again. Marcus Lee's enjoying a defensive presence at the moment. 4.6 boards, 3 blocks and a couple of steals already for Marcus Lee.
I would love to know his wingspan. 8 feet.
7'3".
Because he stayed there. He blocked that with his left hand flat-footed. He just stood there, said, if you want to shoot it anywhere near my paws, I'll knock it out.
Been a great acquisition for Melbourne United since joining the NBL. Averaging 22 minutes in his 13 games. Top 5 in the competition in offensive rebounding. You mentioned the block shots, and just a good fit, particularly for this man, Ratan Mays, who wheels into the paint and comes up with a 2.
Vintage. I was calling for a 1-4 flat as soon as he grabbed the ball, so everybody knows that is his game. That mid-range J, end of a shot clock, end of a quarter. He can get off any kind of shot he wants.
Yep, we arrive at halftime here, and it's a 17-point lead for Melbourne United after Brisbane had closed to as close as 10. Melbourne finish in style and have opened up a healthy buffer here at the major break. And 54 is just too many for Brisbane to give up as we go courtside to Derek Rucker.
Hey, with Rajon Tucker, 17 points for you, and your team has a 17-point lead. You happy with how that first half ended?
Yeah, on the point scale, but we still got little things that we got to tighten up. Defense, transition, offensive rebounds. So those are how they're staying in the game right now. So as long as we get those done, we'll be good.
What do you think the message will be from Coach Gene Vickerman at the break?
Just to tighten up those little things, like I said, the offensive rebounds, the easy layups, the fouls. So we go ahead and push this thing open and maybe get some of our young guys in.
Rajon, go have a break. Thanks for taking the time with us. Back to you, Case.
Thanks very much, Derek. Let's find out more about XRM Xavier Ratan Mays.
10 seconds remaining. Ratan Mays, that is monstrous.
My love came from Toronto, playing at the YMCA. I used to get there like 10 a.m. and stay till like 5, 6 p.m. My grandma used to bring me lunch because I would never come home. I left home at 13 years old to go pursue this dream to play basketball. I look at some 13-year-olds and I'm like, man, I left at your age. I remember being in a dorm by myself, crying because, you know, it was tough. My brothers, man, they're everything to me. One of them now is at Youngstown State in Ohio. The other one, he's 15 years old, 6'6". He's gonna be an unbelievable talent. I have them tatted on my wrist. I kiss my wrist before every game. It's just like a sign of knowing that they're with me.
Ratan Mays on the drive.
Ratan Mays a long way from home. Into a double team.
Those are shots he can hit.
I want to set the example for them. I want them to be able to look up to Big Bro and say, this is what I want to be. Even if that's not, you know, in the NBA. As long as you're doing what makes you happy and you're in a place of happiness, it's all that matters. Because of that journey and because of the things that I've gone through, I was able to learn and grow. I'm in a place now that I'm happy, and that self-reflection, that ability to really sit there and think and understand has been big for me.
Thanks for sharing your Saturday night with us here on the Hungry Jacks NBL. It was dynamite from Chris Golding in that second quarter, had 8 of his 11. And they have opened up a healthy 17-point lead here at the major break, led by 14 at quarter time after a 34-point opening quarter. Brisbane, which is their highest scoring quarter of the season. Brisbane have hung tough, but right at the moment, they just don't have the firepower, Jen.
They don't, and for me, while Chris Goulding has been phenomenal, for me it's been Marcus Lee has been the difference. He may not be dominating on the scoreboard, but he's got the 4 blocks, the 2 assists as well, and just wreaking havoc for the Brisbane Bullets on the defensive end.
Take a look at some of the Hungry Jacks highlights here in the first half. Damon, what are your first impressions?
I thought Brisbane started off okay, but the United, they got a lot to play for. They got way more to play for than what Brisbane's got to play for. And Rajon Tucker got it all started. Getting downhill, got about 3 to 4 layups in a row in transition. They forgot about Chris, and Chris Golding hit him a couple of threes. So the United, they fell into a little bit of a lull, but Dean quickly called a couple timeouts just to get them to be refocused, because this is that kind of game that if you're not careful, it can turn into a closer game than what it should be.
Bain started it so promisingly. He had 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting, but just 2 shots in the second quarter. They went away from him, and we've seen this happen in the games that he's played. They really need to try and keep him engaged and involved more than that.
They do indeed, especially get some 2-man game with Nathan Sobey as well. But from the 3-point line, it has been 0% for the Bullets, and that's been hurting them. They only shoot 32% for the season. They've got to pick that up. The 6 extra shots for Melbourne United have also been a success, and it's also been the turnovers. Brisbane have got 11 turnovers off the 15 points for the Melbourne United. So they've got to tidy up their possession game at the moment if they're any chance to get back into this one.
We know that Chris Golding's in a rich vein of form, but even more impressive is his patience in getting involved as well. They didn't call his number much in the opening quarter, but in the second, when they could not score, they went to the man that can bail them out, and he did that.
If I could shoot like Chris Golding, I would be jumping up and down, waving arms like a banshee. But Chris is very patient. The team knows where he is, who he is, and there's no rush. He will get his shots off. He'll come down in transition. They'll find him. They'll run specific plays for him. Chris is fine. 50% from the field, 50% from three-point line, but he's got the 5 dimes. So he's playing a good game.
Well, 3 threes tonight for Chris Golding. 82 for the season, the most of anyone in the competition. And, of course, speaking of long shooting, well, this year, thanks to Latrobe Financial, we're giving away $50,000. It's guaranteed. Here's some of the great entries we've received already. Hit a shot from half court. Send us in the video. nbl.com.au/legends. You can get a chance at winning $50K. At the moment, Melbourne United 54, Brisbane 37. More Hungry Jacks NBL for you in just a moment. Thanks for being with us here on a Saturday night. Beautiful Brisbane, host city of the 2032 Olympic Games. But right now, host city for the Bullets against Melbourne United. And United with a 17-point lead here, getting lots of good contributions. One of them from Xavier Rattan-Mayes. And to tell us a little bit more about his influence on the game, let's go courtside to the 1990 League MVP, Derek Rucker.
Thank you, Case. And XRM's contribution cannot be understated. If he can find his rhythm, he had a nice game down in New Zealand, and then today coming off the bench, he's very efficient again. He, Mason Peatling, and Brad Newley can play significant roles in support of Tucker, Golding, and now a very comfortable Marcus Lee, who is giving great rim protection. Melbourne United can be really dangerous in this playoff run if they can get in, and the start of that continues again in this second half right here in Brisbane.
He's been a great pickup for Melbourne from Illawarra. Had 33 on debut for Melbourne against the New Zealand Breakers back in round one. Led scoring in 6 of the 8 games when they had injury problems and people were out. He had to do it all, and he did do it all. And at times I felt he was unfairly criticised because he was the one that was making things happen. They wanted him to pass the ball more, and the score went down. I mean, it's a difficult situation for him to be in. I
was in that camp too today. It was too hard on that man. He was leading scorer, leading rebounder, leading assist guy, and the narrative did not suit, but he's only at the Melbourne United because of all the buckets he gave them last year when he was with the Illawarra Hawks. So they know exactly who he is when they got him. So now it's a good fit right now. Though everybody seems to have tweaked their roles, and they're looking great as a team.
And it was so nice to see at halftime that human side to the player. Only we see sometimes what they like as players, and we judge them for that. But it's nice to see how much it is important to him, this basketball game and this basketball world, and especially his family.
Underway in the second half, Brisbane Bullets with the possession arrow. Down 17. Another question has been asked of their character here in this one. Baines back to Kadee. Works inside the three-point line. Feeds Baines, who was forced into a tough shot by Marcus Lee. Came up empty. Rajon Tucker rushes up the floor, draws a foul on Andrew White. His first personal. Free throws to come.
That's how quick it can happen. You don't have time, either Brisbane Bullets or any team in the league for that matter. When you don't get the call that you think you should have got, and you stop and wait for 1 second against a team like the United, a guy like Rajon Tucker, you're in transition now. So they miss an easy one, and now they give up something in transition. So they got to just go from offense to defense a hell of a lot quicker than that.
Rajon Tucker, 74% from the free throw line this year. He's taken 117 free throws coming into this game. 4th most in the competition. He gets to the line. We know what he's like as an athlete, and he can hit the 3 as well. He's a difficult cover. Game high margin now for Melbourne United. Just putting their form together. 12-point winners over New Zealand. Beat Tasmania prior to that. Brisbane earlier.
What do they say about the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, Jen?
That's where you win championships.
United want to put their foot down early. So like Rajon said, maybe we can get some rest. Maybe we can get some young guys in.
And I like that from Dean Vickerman and the coaching staff, that they're actually investing and trusting their bench now a lot more and injecting them into the game. They did that in the first quarter with obviously 9 players coming in and being able to contribute and be valuable as well.
Tucker against Baines. Animated again as Illy from the corner peels off the triple.
They're putting Baines in the pick and roll. Rajon's attacking him, but then he's making that extra pass. He knew that Shea was over there in that corner. He didn't put up anything wild. Made the extra pass.
Worrying signs here at the start of the second half for the Brisbane Bullets. Yet to add to their halftime tally. Shot clock to red numbers. Mitchell elevates and splashes the 3.
Much needed bucket for the Brisbane Bullets, just to give them some breathing room or catch up, if you will. But right now it's the defensive end for the Brisbane Bullets. Got to get consecutive stops, and that helps.
White off and running. Mitchell in support, and Illy just read where he was going and takes the charge.
Shea saw it coming a mile away. Look at the replay here. See DJ in a nice little pick and pop. He can make that shot. And Andrew White, this guy's name is Shea Illy. And he's the real dilly, Jen, on D.
He is tough, just so tough. But what has been tough is, across the board, is the Melbourne United defense. From 1 through to 12, whoever's coming in, they're all on the same page. And whilst we think 40 points isn't a lot, to hold Brisbane to that, and like they did to New Zealand the other night, are in the top 3 of this league, to hold them to the points they are at the moment is absolutely sensational.
Tucker, Peatling, looked inside for Lee, ball deflected by Baines. Shot clock. Works to red numbers now. Ely exploring, finds Peatling, ready to pull the trigger on the 3. It's off the mark. Baines grabs the rebound. Number 7 for him in that category. Sobey looks down low for Mitchell.
Good to see Bainesy not playing the drops defense on ball screens like a lot of teams settle for. Bainesy can move his feet. He can come out there on the level of the middle out of control.
Tucker just lost it. Overbalanced, coughed it up. Here's Kadee. Past Golding. Sobey finds White, the trailer, and he knocks down the jump shot.
Yeah, normally play like that's going to cost you up the other end. So with Rajon, sometimes you got to break an egg to make an omelet. But Dean will be letting him know, let's not make that a habit.
8 turnovers now for Melbourne, 13 in that category for Brisbane. 2.5 minutes played here in this third quarter. A little later, we're off to the Wild West to see RAC Arena in Perth with the roof open and near 14,000 in the house as they play host to Adelaide for the Martin Catalini Cup. I
cannot wait to see the first bird's eye view, if you will, of that arena. It is going to be spectacular on the TV screen.
Martin Catalini got a cup?
Sure does.
I thought that might have been the Adelaide Cup, but I guess he does deserve a cup from his Perth days.
What a good player he was. Melbourne come up empty again, and Kadee's pass for Sobey got there eventually. Baines with a solid screen there on Golding. Mitchell, who's ready to go, knocks down another 3. Margin cut to 14.
And there you go, just a few stops consecutively, and they're able to find the net at the other end through good ball movement, and the right shot just allows them to close this deficit a little bit more.
8 unanswered points from Brisbane. Free throws to come here might break that run.
Even though on one end they're putting Bainesy in all the pick and rolls, on the offensive end, Brisbane said, let's use Bainesy's screens. Now they're coming off screens and they have to react, because once Baines picks you, you stay picked. And they, like you said, Jen, they make that extra pass, and DJ Mitchell's got himself 2 nice threes out of it.
And Jenny, as someone who's been to the Olympics, represented your country at the highest level, for Baines to come back from such a significant injury at the Rio Olympics, he's averaged 11 points a game, 8 rebounds, which is 4th in the competition, played the 17 of the 21 games. But do you think that's what we should have expected from him, or high expectations, wasn't there?
There's always going to be. We've seen that with Ryan Brockhoff when he came back into the league a couple of years ago. The expectations are high, and when they don't meet our expectations, we're very quick to criticise. And we've got to remember, the NBL isn't really a big man's league either. We like to get out and run and play the guard kind of game, if you will. So it's always going to take time. And we know that he's got aspirations to get back to the NBA, but if he can present himself and start to be a bit more of a target like he was there, even though it didn't come off, things are only going to get better, not only for the individual that is Bainesy, but also for the team of the Brisbane Bullets.
You may have joined us late and wondered where the code word was for those missed free throws from Marcus Lee, who's now none of 3. Well, David Aquera gave the Hungry Jacks burgers away back in quarter 2 already. As Illy feeds Peatling against Mitchell, likes the advantage. Mitchell knocked it away from him, and Brisbane come up with it once more. Base is the word, in case you're wondering, for the Hungry Jacks. The code word is base, thanks to David Aquera in the second. Here's Baines for the triple.
Okay.
Oh, this is better. 11 unanswered points now from the Brisbane Bullets has got them right back into the frame here. They trail by just 11. Those missed free throws from Marcus Lee are looking a little expensive.
And right on cue. Nice little pick and roll action on the weak side, or on the wing rather, and then Bainesy just trailing. Marcus Lee was in coverage position there and just lost sight of him as he came into that transition shot. But what could have just run out to a 25-point thrashing, if you will, Brisbane have dug deep and finding a way.
Spot on. They was very disciplined on offense. They came down and they ran methodical pick and roll play, played off of Baines. They made the extra pass, got DJ involved, and now Bainesy is feeling good about life. I see some life in big fella now.
15 points, closing in on his season high of 17. Next round, round 16, is going to be Heritage Round in the Hungry Jacks NBL. We're going to celebrate your team's history, and you can do that by going to nblstore.com.au to grab your Heritage jersey now. The Brisbane Bullets are going to suit up in red in round 16, and their jersey is available for sale now. The red represents a red poinsettia chosen as Brisbane's floral emblem in 1925. And all the players from Brisbane are going to be written into their uniform, and featuring white pinstripes and a classic script typeface, these Melbourne United uniforms, well, they draw inspiration from Melbourne's young history while paying homage to some of the great Victorian basketball teams that came before them. We jumped the gun a little bit in Hobart the other night when Adelaide and the Jack Jumpers on Thursday night rolled theirs out, given that the Jack Jumpers were playing in Hobart before they play in Launceston next week. And Adelaide obliged in the 98 strip as well. But the Jack Jumpers for mine is the best, but they're all good. Get around them. NBLstore.com.au. Golding, he can't break the drought either. So Brisbane are on an 11-0 run here and got another stop. 1 of 4 from the field, Melbourne, since half-time. After they hit the first points of the term, Sobey takes them on. He's turned away by Marcus Lee, who already has 4 blocks in the game. Here's Xavier Rattan-Mayes. He will break the drought.
You miss a layup up one end, and then you give up one on the other end. Hey, Derek, this is that time of the game that you were talking about earlier. When things get a little bit tough, what will Brisbane do? It looks like they've responded. How do you see it down there?
Yeah, it looked like they were patient on offense, and I thought that last one, Sobey gets the bounce. And that's probably basketball justice, because I thought Marcus Lee goaltended his last drive. But back to your question, right now they seem pretty stable defensively. They held Melbourne to only 11 thus far, so that's an improvement. Maybe they found a key defensively.
Here's Shea Illy. He's short on the rim. Sobey the rebound. And fans finding their voice in Brisbane as well. And they're out in good numbers despite the fact that they've lost 9 of their last 10. The numbers keep rolling out in Brisbane, which is a great sign for them.
We have a look at the replay here. Sobey comes off a nice little dribble handoff. Not even a dribble handoff, just a handoff, and turns, gets the friendly bounce. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck to go your way. But I like the way the ball is moving with Brisbane. It's funny how when you play the right way, when the ball is shared around, guys feel a little bit better about themselves. They look very engaged.
Tyler Johnson still yet to score in the game. Hands over to Kadee. Single digits on the shot clock. Guarded by Brad Newley. Too nimble for Newley from close range. Adds another 2. The margin has been cut to just 8 points.
And just like that, under double digits for the first time of the ball game for Brisbane, and everything, and this huge packed out stadium up north in Queensland is firing for the Brisbane Bullets as they force another turnover for Melbourne, and the cracks are just starting to show for the United boys at the moment.
Always was a danger game. Sometimes it looked like it was a little bit too easy for the United, and then they would take the foot off, so to speak. They would just get a little bit careless with the ball, give Brisbane a little bit of a sniff, and now here we go. We got ourselves a game.
16 points to 2 is the run for Brisbane in the last 5 minutes, and after being none of 7 from long range in the first half, they're 4 of 4 in this quarter and starting to heat up. This man's overdue, and Johnson now opens his scoring account and cuts the margin even further back to 6.
Just tough right there. Harrison injects himself back into the game as well. The big fella had to sit early with those 3 fouls, giving Bainesy a much-needed rest, but he's going to have an impact as well for the Brisbane Bullets on both ends of the floor.
Tough from Ray-John Tucker to get the job done and draw a foul. Chance at a 3-point play. 21 in the game now for Ray-John Tucker to lead all scorers. Baines with 15, Sobey with 11, the high scorers for Brisbane.
You just mentioned tough, and I think that's the middle name of Ray-John Tucker, both metaphorically and literally. He's just tough. 21 points tonight, 8 of 12, such efficiency, and not to mention the 4 of 5 from the foul line. It's been a pleasure to watch.
Courtside to Derek Rucker.
Damon, you and I talked about the need for Brisbane just to be patient offensively. Use 15 seconds of the shot clock so you're not taking so many hits, and they're much more patient in this second half. Have Melbourne United move to a zone defense. Let's see how Brisbane respond.
Spot on. You don't want to be taking quick shots unless you got yourself a bit of a lead. That is good ball movement. They punish the zone. They set a screen in it, and they lead. They forget about Tyler out there in that corner. And this is a proper game of basketball, Case.
None of 7 at halftime from deep. 5 of 5 in this quarter. Brisbane have turned it on. They're back to within 6. Little over 3 minutes out from 3-quarter time. Rattan-Mayes feeds Newley looking for a 3. can't convert. And Brisbane in over the back of Ratan Mays there, who wanted to call, but will get the ball, but not the infringement that he wanted called on Brisbane. They have one behaviour warning on Brisbane here in this third quarter. Greg Vanderjagt thinking about a challenge here. Looking to his video man. Want Sobey back into the game. This has been a terrific fight back. They were down 16 in the opening quarter, 17 at halftime, 22 early in the third here, and we're back at 6.
This would be the most unbelievable turnaround game, bounce-back game we've ever seen. If the Bullets can pull this one out. But just the way they have played is the blueprint for how they need to play to finish off the season.
So the foul was called on Jason Cadee. It's his 4th personal. Had 2 fouls in the opening quarter, Jason Cadee, including one inside the first 18 seconds that was overturned from a blocking call on Chris Golding to a charging call on Jason Cadee. And the foul problems have haunted him ever since then. The fastest coach's challenge we've had in NBL history. Johnson beats Mitchell, both reluctant to fire. Sobey gets involved with the shot clock at 5. Took on Newell. Pass got it to White for the finishing touches.
We got a Rajon one-shoe pass, and now we got, I don't even know what we would call that by Sobey, but what athleticism to get that pass through. He probably tried to shoot it there.
Ratan Mays, look at it. Attracted a crowd, couldn't finish it under pressure. Johnson has it. Here's Sobey, dangerous in the open court. Decides to pull it up though, uses Harrison, had trouble reeling it in, eventually found the handle, gets Sobey involved. Johnson, feet set, looks good, is good. 2-point game, here come the Bullets.
You cannot argue with this basketball. Look at the emotion now. Now look at this team. This is the exact same team that less than 48 hours ago embarrassed themselves. And now they've turned around and responded, and it's all because they're playing the right way. They're playing for each other. They're making the extra pass. It's a collective effort on the glass, and this is the result you can get.
And how good is that crowd? Gives me goosebumps that you can hear them through the TV right now. They're all behind their blue team. As you see what Damon was talking about, that selflessness. Sobey could have done a runner down the lane, but he chose otherwise. Tyler Johnson, we know how prolific he can be from deep. And check out the bench as they celebrate along with the crowd of that big bucket to get them within the 2 points.
Well, Tyler Johnson with 8 points in this quarter has turned it on.
Now on the flip side, Case, Jen, this is when the Melbourne United are at their worst. When they then decide to come down and not move the ball, and it gets sticky. XRM, yes, he can score, but these are the times. It's Rajon Tucker as well. They got to move the ball themselves.
Well, this season, with thanks to MG, we are giving away a brand new MG ZS EV electric car valued at $44,990. You can enter now at nbl.com.au/winmg. That's how easy it is. And you might be driving away with one of the best cars on the road at the moment, the electric vehicle from MG, the ZS EV, valued at $44,990. So what a fight back this has been. Terrific work from the Brisbane Bullets. 26 points to 11 in this quarter. They were down 17 at the half. They are threatening to take Melbourne's lead away for the first time in the game. Peatley picks up the dribble. This is Ratan Mays working on Johnson. Good pass. Golding bailed them out in the second. Can't do it on this occasion. Mitchell had it. Ratan Mays knocks it out of court. Brisbane will get possession as we go courtside to Derek Rucker.
And the crowd is very upset with that call. They've called a simultaneous touch and a jump ball, which means it's Melbourne United's possession. I'm not so sure about that. I think I'd be challenging.
Oh, that's off XRM.
Really? I thought it was off the head of Harrison.
Nico's called a jump ball. He's unsure he's off. Or it's simultaneous. He's called a jump ball.
Can I challenge it out of bounds?
You can't challenge a jump ball.
No, I'm challenging the out of bounds.
Yes, the jump ball's on the out of bounds. You can't challenge that.
Well, they restarted quickly, and Golding peels off the triple.
I just called a timeout. I called a timeout.
Well, Greg Vanderjagt's got a good argument here. Don't know if he's going to get the joy that he's after, but he had a timeout booked. Wanted to challenge the call.
Hey, go! Ruben, I'll get them.
Ask the timeout before he bounds the ball, or after?
Greg said,
We want to challenge the out of bounds ball.
No, but don't challenge out of bounds. I told you this.
Huh?
Yeah, but for trial, can't challenge out of bounds.
Why not?
And it's a jump ball.
And he's called for a timeout, as we can see there, and wants to challenge it. Then they restarted.
Yeah.
So it's a curious
Timeout for the challenge.
course of events.
That's a question. He wanted to challenge, yeah. He wanted to challenge.
How do you call this one, though?
you got to take the 3 points off the board. Sorry.
I don't think they can.
I don't think
Let's
you
go
can.
courtside. Derek Rucker, what are you seeing?
The score bench has acknowledged that Greg Vanderjagt did indeed call a timeout. They're having a discussion there. We're giving them 3 points. The bucket counts. That is unfortunate. That is a bad turn of events. Firstly, the ball was off XRM's hands, as you guys agree, correct?
Correct.
Then Vanderjagt actually wanted to challenge that. And it went, sorry, excuse Nathan Sobey's language in the background there, but Greg Vanderjagt did signal for a timeout. It wasn't picked up. It wasn't picked up by the referees from the score bench. And now that 3 counts. Wow.
Do this, man. He let it go.
Okay.
And Vanderjagt's got to be really careful here. You know, the momentum is with Brisbane, even though that shot just went down for Chris Goulding and his Melbourne United team. But with just 2 minutes to go, they just got to hang around until they get to that fourth quarter.
That's right, Janice. Everybody take a deep breath. Relax.
Bench has already had a behaviour warning in this quarter, Brisbane, so they are on the tightrope here. Can't take it back, use it as motivation as Sobey feeds Johnson. Stepped on the baseline out of court, so Melbourne are going to get it back here as Brisbane turn it over for the 15th time in the game. Melbourne has 10 in that category.
Right idea by Sobey to penetrate and try to find time in the corner. What the Bullets got to do now is just consolidate, like you said, Jen. Finish off this 90 seconds. Let's not lose our head here.
Goulding with 14.
And not let this guy get loose. CG.
We'll get a timeout now, but Chris Goulding, 5 of 10 from long range amongst his 17 points.
And he just shows up when they need him the most. Big-time player making big-time shots in big-time moments for the Melbourne United. He loves playing here up in Brisbane at the Nissan Arena. And much-needed buckets, momentum killers. Brisbane were coming. You could smell them, but that hurts hard.
Terrell Harrison, man, don't you know who that dude is? You bagging up off the ball screen? That's Chris. He's not going to not shoot that.
Let's go courtside to Derek Rucker.
That was a dramatic turn of events, and Case, if we know nothing else, that Brisbane games are always exciting, but wow, what a change. I mean, it was a 2-point game. Ball should have been going back to Brisbane. And now, with that bad call and everything that happened after it, the Bullets are under duress again. They're being challenged. Now they've got to come out in the final 90 seconds here and show that this season onwards is going to be a different team, because this crowd is ready to erupt again. But also, you got to stay connected to Chris Goulding. You can't give him space, Jenny.
No, you can't, and they do have to stay connected and lock in right now in this last minute and a half. What they can't do is also give up fouls. They're in the bonus, so every foul from this point forward, they're sending Melbourne United to the line, and we know that they can shoot well, 70% at the season. Not great, but we know big-time players like Chris Goulding can be amazing from there. But big minute and a half for the Brisbane Bullets here.
87 threes last season at 36%, Chris Goulding. 84 threes at a better clip this season. He is doing it all and has done for a long time. This is Johnson, who's been good in the third. The floater wouldn't work on that occasion. Tucker grabs the rebound. Charges back up to Goulding, who's alone again. This time he can't convert. Loose ball found by Illy, and now Tucker, who gets a look at the three as well, and he knocks down the triple.
Never fails. I love to know the shooting percentage from 3 after an offensive rebound. The Bullets have done so much good stuff. Now they're giving up offensive rebounds. They're leading the threes. And Sobey gets to the rack, and looks like he took one in the guts. Got to get up and make these free throws.
Big free throws in the context of the game, and big threes from Melbourne United as we see Sobey going downhill here, taking the bump, creating the contact. Not much there, but then falls awkwardly on the foot of Shea Illy. he's bounced up and he'll be fine.
Well, after that Brisbane charge got them back to within 2. It's 3 triples from Melbourne, who have exploded the margin back into double figures. So, again, important for them just to hang tough here at the moment, Brisbane. If you, at halftime, I'm sure they were talking about 17 down. Let's get the margin to single digits by 3/4 time and take it from there. Well, they're a chance still to do that. Just try and forget about the drama that unfolded there when they had it back to within 2. It might have been a little hard done by.
That's it, Case, though, but that's life. That's basketball life. You got to be able to bounce back even when you take an ill-advised shot to the chest. So Brisbane will get out of this quarter. They'll go back and regroup, hopefully, and come out with a new resolve. Because anything worth having ain't easy.
Well, that's what Van der Jack spoke about before the game in his interview. He talked about compartmentalising. They were great in their opening minutes against the Sydney Kings, and then they obviously went on that run, and Kings won that one. But little momentum swings. They've got to be able to capitalise on, hold strong here, and finish off the term.
Golding baseline over Harrison helps himself to 2 more. He's got 19 in the game, Chris Golding, including 8 in this term.
Yeah, Chris just, they try to top block that screen. Chris just pushed him in the chest, faded back, knocked it down. Professional scorer.
Mitchell couldn't convert. Loose ball, Illy after it now. Chance for Melbourne to slow it down for the last play of the 3rd quarter. After they were challenged, they've answered the call here. And back to a double-figure lead with the last play. Tucker with 25 points pulls the trigger on the 3. It's off the mark. Contact after the shot. No whistle forthcoming. But we've got a big 4th quarter coming your way. Brisbane are coming. Melbourne lead it, though, by 11. 3/4 time, it's Melbourne 76, Brisbane 65. Great to have you along for the ride on a Saturday night. The first of our double headers is getting exciting. Brisbane charging back into the contest on the back of a 28-22 3rd quarter. At one stage had it back to within 2. For Melbourne steady. Lead by 11 with a quarter to play as they chase their 8th consecutive win against Brisbane, their 4th in a row, and looking to push themselves further up the NBL ladder into the playoff picture. Big final quarter coming. Brisbane with a possession arrow, but they have won just 1 of 21 last quarters this season, Brisbane. So there's a challenge for them.
What's that percentage, Case?
That's not a lot, is it? That's got to be around 3. Here's Baines in the paint, muscles up, short-armed at ball. Kept alive there, and the tip-in wouldn't work, though, for Frolling either. Here's Rajon Tucker, hard to contain in this scenario. And he wants the 2, draws a whistle. Just would not be denied as he adds another 2 to his tally. 27 now for Rajon Tucker.
Defensive transition is paramount. That's just, how many times have we seen this today where Brisbane has either missed a point-blank layup, slow to get back on D, and number 59 is out here doing acrobatic things in the open court. So Brisbane are not going to get back in this game like that, Jen.
Oh, they're not, but we've got to emphasize how tough that shot was. He was running at speed in transition, and then at a beautiful Euro step, was able to draw contact and finish. Just tough from Rajon Tucker.
28 now for Tucker, who had 13 in the opening quarter on the back of 6 of 9 from the field. Kadee fires the 3 off the mark. Frolling and Peatling collide. And looks, Frolling wanted a coach's challenge, and Greg Vanderjet's going to oblige here.
Well, I would too, because from where I sit, and I don't know what what Rucker thinks, but I thought it was off Melbourne United. There's been a few calls that haven't gone the way for Brisbane Bullets. There was a lot to like about them in that third quarter when they came with the push. As you see, Greg, he's fired up. He knows how important this game is, and just those last 2 minutes of that third quarter, if they had gone differently, it could be a totally different scoreline right now.
It could be, but it's over now. They got to move on. They can't hang. I don't want to hear in the press conference, yeah, well, you know, if that wouldn't have happened in the third quarter, well, you know what, that's over with. There's 9 minutes in this basketball game. You're only down 14. You've come back from this deficit before, so let's not dwell in the past. But I hear what you're saying, Jim.
Greg Vanderjet will draw up the play here, and see how he goes with the coach's challenge. Melbourne has, say, a win to keep their playoff hopes alive. They head to Adelaide next Saturday. Then they're in New Zealand the following Saturday, and they finish with a home game against Adelaide.
Oh, my God. Mason slapped the ball out of bounds.
As easy to see from anyone sitting in that arena right now that did indeed come off Mason Peatling. I think that's an easy one to overturn for the referees.
Dean Vickerman had a coach's challenge earlier and won.
Successful, sorry. Recordings of a turn, blue ball, 14 seconds. Why couldn't we review the one we tried to earlier then?
No, don't worry about it, Jace.
Because it's a jump ball. It's not an out of bounds.
Did Nico say sorry first before he said challenge successful? I like that. Just apologize, my bad.
Nico Fernandez, very polite about it all. So Brisbane get possession, down 14, first minute of the final quarter. In an eventful game, Baines against Lee, been a good battle. Baines muscling up against Lee, just shoves him out of the way, helps himself to 2 more. 17 now for Aaron Baines to equal his season high.
That's the Bainesy I've been looking for since Darwin case. Bully ball Baines, give him to him on the block, let him put a little chicken wing in the guy's chest and shoot a little baby hook. He can get that shot off whenever he wants.
Jay Illy in the corner, drills the triple. Well, they've got the answers here at the moment. 5 players from Melbourne have hit a 3 in the game. As Baines fires one of his own, he's already hit a 3 as well. Maybe not the shot they were after. 15 the margin. Down low, Lee guarded by Baines. Shot clock to 10. They reset through Tucker. Got away from Kadee. Bounces into Baines. Is called for the blocking foul. Second personal on Baines.
Hey, Derek, feels like we're at that point again in this movie. Brisbane down 15. It could go either way. What are you thinking?
Yeah, first of all, on behalf of the city of Brisbane, we did not like that comment you made about you don't want to hear something in the press conference. That's not an excuse. That's a legitimate reason of why things went wrong. But I hear what you're saying right now, and this is the fragility of a losing team. And right now, Brisbane needs to really get strong mentally and physically and not forget what got them back in the game, which was really good offense, what was leading to good defensive stops.
Peatling in the corner, off the mark. Tyler Johnson the rebound. After a slow start, Tyler Johnson starting to come to the party. Scoreless at halftime. Busy in the third with 8, and now he's into double figures.
Let the professional come out, Tyler.
And he has been great in the last 3 games. He's had 20 points, averaging shooting at a nice 52% as well.
12 the margin. Golding, danger. This time off the mark, Kadee, perhaps the rebound. Tucker went down in the play phase as well. Big chance for Brisbane here. Get the margin back to single digits. Sobey in a mismatch with Peatling, uses the baseline. Couldn't get it done, but draws a foul.
Just having a look at Amy replay right here. And Tyler Johnson, who's been a professional scorer his whole life, is going to call for some little bit of an individual brilliance in these last 8 minutes at some point. Because this guy can definitely string them together and get hot.
As too can this man from the line. It's been an up and down season for Nathan Sobey. When he's flying, so too Brisbane. He was good against the Kings in the opening 9 minutes. He was 4 of 4 with the 3 rebounds.
One of the better free throw shooting teams in the competition, Brisbane. 76% to be top 3. And right now in this game, perfect 13 of 13 from the free throw line. So margin cut to 10. It's been in double figures, largely as early as the first quarter. Retan Mays, nothing on offer, just rifles the pass at the Brisbane bench and cleared the heads, thankfully.
And again, it's a little bit of deja vu from the third quarter. A couple of stops coming the way of Brisbane and then some nice shot selection down the other end. And you just see this scoreline closing ever so slightly. And with the momentum of that Nissan Arena crowd, anything can happen.
So margin at 10. Baseline exploring. Kadee comes up empty. Baines, the offensive rebound and the putback. A new career high for Aaron Baines, who's got 19 along with 9 boards.
Baines just hanging around 2 feet from the basket, cleaning up all the misses as they give up a wide open triple to XRM. Can't trade baskets these last 6 minutes and 50 seconds, Brisbane.
They continue to knock down the 3. 12 threes at 39% for Melbourne. This Baines once more. Inside, helps himself to another 2. 21 now for Baines. Only Tucker with 28 has more in the game. Margin is 9, 6.5 on the clock. Foul called on Jason Kadee, so that is all for Kadee. He is going to foul out for the 2nd time this season. And that's expensive for Brisbane. Had 2 fouls in the opening quarter. We mentioned the one inside the first 20 seconds of the game where a foul was called on Golding. And Kadee thought he was going to the free throw line and they overturned it and put the foul on Jason Kadee's name for a charge. Now he's ended up with 5 and out of the game. Illy. Wraparound play for Aquera. He can't convert. Following the rebound, and now Tyler Johnson. Margin at 9. They got it back to within 2 in that third quarter on the back of an 11-0 run. And Sobey dumps it. Froling went back to Sobey, not expecting the pass. They've coughed it up. Could be expensive. Illy takes on White. Talked out of the points. Golding for the clean-up 2.
Expensive is the word, Case. You're right. Jason Kadee fouls out. You got to be able to protect yourself in games. So now the point guard position is now compromised. So we need Sobey to try to score, and Sobey also got to try to facilitate as well. So they're going to have to do it by committee in the backcourt.
Lee called for a pushing foul. That's going to be his 4th personal. Brisbane will get possession as we go courtside to Derek Rucker.
And throughout this season, there's been a lot of discussion about Aaron Baines and his role in this team and how to get him engaged offensively. But I think we're seeing tonight, if Brisbane control tempo better and play with a more appropriate pace, which is slower than the one they've been playing with all season, then the ball will find Baines organically out of their offense. And that's what's happening tonight. And also is giving him opportunities to hit the offensive glass as we've got some more drama on the court right now, Case.
Well, Marcus Lee's been called for a technical foul, so he is out of the game as well. Marcus Lee with a pushing foul to pick up his 4th, then hit up with a T to make it 5. And Marcus Lee fouls out for the 5th time this season, the most of any player. In his 14th game tonight, and he's fouled out here and leaves us having played 30 minutes. Now that leaves a big hole in the defensive end for Melbourne.
A big hole considering the way that the big fella Bainesy is playing at the moment. I think more of offense will go through Bainesy. He's obviously not on the court at the moment, having a rest, but we'll see him injected back in. But big minutes for the Brisbane Bullets right now.
Sobey picks up the dribble. Johnson working on Rajon Tucker. Works to the foul line. Couldn't get it over the front of the rim, and Tucker grabs the board.
That is interesting. Bainesy having a rest right now, but I'm like, hey, man, can you give me 5.5 minutes? You're playing too well right now. Just to follow on Derek's point, when Brisbane are playing that fast pace, it doesn't suit a guy like Baines. He wants to play in the half court, slow it down, grind it. Now he's having a career game based on, like what Derek just said, the pace slowing down. So his rest, as far as I'm concerned, is over. He needs to get his ass back in the game.
Loose ball getting after it there. Harrison doing enough to win it back for Brisbane. Peatling couldn't control it. It trickles out of court. 5 minutes and 4 seconds left on the clock. Melbourne by 10, but you feel though it's closer than that. And the pass from Johnson, Harrison, and he goes and retrieves it again. Shot clock to single digits here for Tyler Johnson. Pass Tucker, confronted by Peatling. Feeds Andrew White. Good look, knocks down the three.
Recruit and import Andrew White has been pretty quiet, but he's no mystery to the big stage, hitting a big bucket at a big time to add to his tally of 9 points tonight.
Margin cut to 7. Tucker almost stepped out of court. Melbourne keep it alive here. They've got 5 on the shot clock. Rattan Mays picks up the dribble. He needs help. Tucker provides it, dances into the paint. Hook shot wouldn't work, and Tyler Johnson's got it for Brisbane.
And look at the boys standing up on the bench. They've got to be careful they don't get a tech foul the way the refs are calling this one, but it's all momentum with Brisbane.
Sobey high off the window, wouldn't work. Mitchell back into the line, gets it to Sobey, wide open. 3 off the mark. Rattan Mays grabs the board.
Unlucky, but that was the right play. The ball was swinging around. They made the extra pass. Melbourne United now with 4 minutes to go in a 7-point lead. They just have to execute and get the right shot, and XRM straight downhill.
That was the right shot for them. 15 in the game now for Xavier Rattan Mays. And timeout called here with Melbourne leading it 89-80, 3:53 to play. Again, the experience and high IQ of Xavier Rattan Mays. Just when Damon's talking about getting a high percentage play, layup fits that bill.
It doesn't get much more high percentage than that. And sometimes Xavier, XRM can take those kind of shots, sometimes at the wrong time, but he saw the mismatch. Had a nice ball screen, had the big come out on him. He knows now a foot race to the basket. He's going to win that race.
Just when you think the Brisbane Bullets have got momentum, things are going their way, they're getting some stops. Melbourne United have just been able to respond and respond well, whether it's with a big shot through the likes of Chris Goulding or the penetration through XRM. They're just finding ways that we didn't see at the first half of the season because they went a little bit too selfish at times and individual with their play. But right now, the ball movement, getting shots at the low end of the shot clock has just been nice basketball to watch from the Melbourne United team.
Oh, what a game we've got going here. And with Hungry Jack's NBL, whopper your way to LA this year. Grab any large burger meal at Hungry Jack's and enter your receipt code to win 4 tickets, flights, spending money, accommodation. We'll get you to a basketball game in the USA as well. hungryjacks.com.au/whopper LA for more information. Mad if you don't. Have a crack at that. So Aaron Baines back onto the floor. 21 points on 9 of 14 shooting. New career high for Aaron Baines. He's got 10 boards as well as Sobey goes solo, adds another 2 and cuts the margin to 7.
Peatling's done that a few times. He's shown before the screen's even happening defensively, and Sobey thought better of it and just penetrated low on that baseline and was able to come up with an easy bucket.
Fans getting involved as well. Biggest crowd of the season for Brisbane, despite the fact that it has been a tough run for them, and they've got another rebound. 31-27 is the rebound count, and at the other end it is all happening.
Nothing wrong with playing with pace. When you get stops, you can get out in transition early. DJ Mitchell with a nice little floater in the key. We are right back to where we were. 3-minute game and another XRM layup.
And draws a whistle as well as he was collected high, so a chance at a 3-point play.
XRM saw that gaping hole in that key and said, there's nobody there. I'm just going to put my head down. Andrew White's got to do a better job of just containing the ball. He's like he's shading him to his right for some reason. He's got to square that up and make it at least difficult for XRM, because that's just too easy.
All right, appreciate it.
Nathan Sobey with a problem as well. Feeling that he's not getting calls that perhaps the one like Xavier Rattan-Mays just received as he makes the extra. A reminder, we are going to the Wild West. The Perth Wildcats are peeling back the roof on RAC Arena for the first time in history, and they're playing host to their arch rival, the Adelaide 36ers, for the Martin Padalini Cup and a playoff spot as well. So that's still to come your way after the crossover. It's 8 o'clock Eastern for that game, but right now this one is up for grabs. 8 points is the margin. Melbourne steady the ship inside 3 minutes to play after Brisbane mounted a couple of withering challenges. XRM fires, can't convert. Tyler Johnson has it. They need a high percentage play here, and let's hope that Aaron Baines is involved, because good things have been happening when Baines is involved, and he's involved there. And a whistle on the play as well.
And that happened from the possession before. There was a little bit of argy-bargy and talking going on between Tucker and Baines, and you always knew it was going to come back, as we see here, on-ball defense from Tucker, and they connect here, and from my liking, Baines, he did nothing wrong.
Rajon just slipped. He just did the splits and just fell over. There's no call. It's just sideball. There's nothing happened there. No foul on anybody.
Hugely competitive game. We had excitement right from the first 20 seconds when a foul was overturned. Given away Hungry Jack's burgers thanks to David Aquera in the second quarter. Had an unsportsmanlike foul called on Tyrell Harrison. Had technical foul called on Marcus Lee, and he was out of the game. Cadiz fouled out of the game. Behaviour warning on the bench at Brisbane. Never a dull moment.
It's all happening, Case.
And Mitchell, and we've still got plenty to enjoy. More than 2 minutes of it as Mitchell draws a foul. Free throws to come here for DJ Mitchell. Brisbane a perfect 14 of 14 from the free throw line, including 7 of 7 from Nathan Sobey.
You can see what Brisbane's trying to do by making Bainesy a focal point in this pick and roll, and then set the second screen with DJ Mitchell, and then try to get it high-low. But the previous possession, they saw it coming. Rajon Tucker saw it coming, got in there, and he foiled the play. So now I think you got to go to DJ, because I think DJ might have a mismatch. He's got a scorer's mentality. He can get into the key, and he can get himself to the foul line.
Perfect 16 of 16 from the free throw line, Brisbane. And the margin has shaved even closer. We've got a 6-point ball game. Didn't see this coming when Melbourne peeled off 34 in the opening quarter, their highest scoring quarter of the season, and led by as many as 16. Golding hands over. Rattan-Mays has been the man they can't contain in the fourth. He feeds Tucker, who fires the three off the mark. Johnson the rebound.
Good D by Brisbane. Good pick and roll defense by Bainesy. Twice they try to call him up in the ball screen, and they got no advantage out of it, and Sobey misses a little mid-range.
Off the mark. Melbourne by 6 inside the last 2 minutes. Looking to extend a 7-game winning streak against Brisbane, dating back almost 2 years. But this has been a much improved performance from Brisbane after going down by 49 to the Sydney Kings on Wednesday night in franchise low performance. Illy fires, shot clock going off in the background. He makes the three.
That was beautiful execution from Melbourne United. XRM could have taken the shot, would have been a good shot, but he found a great shot in the corner from Shea Illy, knocking down his third triple of the night.
And Brisbane breaking down defensively. Yes, that was a good extra pass, but he can't help out of that corner. One pass away. Costly.
Tucker has it. Hands over. Golding wheels to the top of the key. Three is off the mark. Tucker athletically couldn't reel in the O-board, and now Sobey needs to get busy and quickly. Wraparound pass into the corner to Johnson. Asked a lot of him. He stepped out of court. Brisbane turned it over for the 18th time in the game.
It's going to be hard to win games. 18 turnovers, especially when you're trying to make a comeback. Sobey that time, that's his second left-handed pass, is kind of just a bit wayward. I'd like to see him just be aggressive and try to get on the rim and get himself to the foul line, because there's not a whole lot of time now, Jen.
There isn't. They made a good push. It's a good turnaround, especially after that defeat against Sydney the other night. You couldn't have asked for a better performance here from the Brisbane Bullets. Still a little bit of time, but it's been a great performance from Melbourne United.
The clock is the friend now of Melbourne United. Golding, Sobey, his middle teammates at the Olympics. Here's Peatling pushing Spark out of the way and helping himself to 2 more. 6 in the game now for Peatling. Margin back to 9. Johnson, nice stutter step, gets down low, adds another 2. 13 in the game now for Tyler Johnson. Scoreless at half-time. He has cranked it up here in the second half. Mitchell's going to be called for the foul, so Brisbane will send Melbourne to the free throw line now, over the limit. United 10 of 17 from the free throw line at 59%, maybe not a bad option.
16 seconds to go to play a foul game, down 9. Yeah. What do you got to lose? But I got to say, the Brisbane Bullets have redeemed themselves from that historical performance the other night against the Kings. This is the blueprint for how they need to play basketball. Understand the proper pace. Understand they can move the ball and be unselfish. Today looked like they actually like playing with each other.
And it just came through effort on the defensive end, and then that flowed through onto their offensive end, getting the ball through hands, getting the ball to the right people at the right time. But credit to Melbourne United, they are on something. I don't know what they're drinking, but they're all on the same page and they're locked in. And with 3 games to go, Case, it's going to be interesting for them. They've got some big ones coming though.
They sure have. Tucker into the 30s again. Here's Mitchell going solo. Good option from him as he gets a quick 3. Less than 10 seconds to play though. Tom Mays is going to be fouled, and we're going to take some free throws at the other end.
DJ Mitchell has been solid off the bench for Brisbane Bullets tonight, as have some other cameo roles. He's got the 15 points and a couple of steals as well, but he's been up and down in his performances. But considering the last 2 games have been 4 points apiece, it's nice to see him get back to what we saw of him at the first half of the season as well.
DJ Mitchell is a priority signing for next year. I want him 3-year deal. I don't know who your agent is, DJ, but make sure he does the right thing.
There's a lot to like about him. There's a lot of upside in terms of his ability to score, play front to bucket. He's got length as well to defend a bigger type of body if need be. And he's a pretty good passer as well.
Melbourne reached the century, lead by 10. Been a brave fight back from Brisbane right to the close here. Haynes tries to tip in. It wouldn't work, but they were tough all night. Melbourne have got the job done, though. They've won 4 straight games now, and 7 of their last 8, Melbourne, to take their tally to 13 wins on the season. And only Sydney and Cairns have got more wins than that on the NBL ladder at the moment. It's a late season charge by Melbourne United. They win it 101-91 on the back of a huge game from Ray John Tucker, our Footlocker player of the game. 30 points for him. For the 3rd time this season, he's been in the 30s.
And he was, from the get-go, the man of the night. He was superb with the points that he contributed, his defensive efforts, his physicality. He's just strong, robust, and he's relentless. And so has been the team that is the Melbourne United. They've been on song now for many games, and they're coming. They've had great cameo roles again off the bench, and with 4 players in double figures, it was always going to be hard for Brisbane.
Melbourne continued to come into playoff calculations. Brisbane outscored them 54-47 after half-time in a great fight back from a long way behind. But they will not be denied, United, and they win it here 101-91, and we'll come back with more right after this here on Hungry Jacks NBL.
Oh, cool, man.
Welcome back. Saturday night hoops here in the Hungry Jacks NBL, and Ray John Tucker and Melbourne United tore Brisbane apart early in the game. They led by 14 at quarter time. Tucker had 13 in an opening quarter before finishing as our Footlocker player of the game with 30 points, including 8 of 9 from the free throw line. He was dynamic, but full credit to Brisbane, who down 14 at quarter time eventually succumbed by just 10 points, outscoring Melbourne in the second half. But Tucker's numbers are impressive, just shy of his season high of 33 against the Phoenix back in round 11, but third time in the 30s. And he can do it all, Jenny Screen.
He can. It was a game of runs, and Melbourne United had too many answers. He was superb, followed by Illy. He had 11.7 assists, and let's not forget Chris Goulding with the 21 points. 5 of 14 from deep, but those 5 were important when Brisbane were making the run. So they're still running. They're still pushing for the games and heading into the 6-team playoff scenario. It's going to be exciting, Case.
Shea Illy, 11 points, game high, 7 assists as well, and Nathan Sobey was good with his 18 points. So Melbourne win their 13th game of the season. They have won their last 4, 7 of their last 8, and they are making some noise with the playoffs fast approaching. Trust you've enjoyed our coverage from Brisbane. Been a good way to start Saturday night. We've got Perth and Adelaide still to come after the crossover, but for now, on behalf of Damon Larry, Jenny Screen and all our crew, I'm John Casey. See you soon.
This program is brought to you by Hungry Jacks and Bunnings Warehouse.
And more expletives.